Okay, this is Scotty. In this video, I'm going to talk about compensators. Now, I'm talking about the compensators on the older bikes, not the new ones. The one we're going to talk about here is the one I have. The shovelhead ones and the Evo ones are very similar, actually. And they use this compensator, I believe, up into the early twin cams. It is not the one that has all the problems, guys. The new one's the one that has been giving people trouble forever. I kind of wonder why they don't just go back to the old one. Anyways, the one thing that these compensators do have, problem that they have, is that the spring on them will wear out, which is not a big deal, but when it wears out, you got to replace it. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to test it, how to see if the spring's bad. I'm going to show you how the whole thing works, of course. It's not rocket science, this thing. And I'm going to show you how to replace the spring on it, how to know when it's bad. And so let's get into it now. I want everybody to know I'm no expert mechanic. I've just been working on this same particular bike for like 20-something years, my own, whenever it needs anything. So I have a tendency, so there's plenty I don't know, but I have a tendency to do tech stuff, mostly only on stuff I do know about, that I've been through a bunch of times. So what we're looking at is this compensator here is worn out. And you can hear it knocking it idle a little bit in there. Okay, I'm going to show you guys how to check it. One way you can check it is by, can you get up here, Joe?
Yep.
Okay, we're looking at this sprocket, and it's going to move with me turning this clutch. See the way it moves?
Yep.
Okay, but it ain't turning the rest of the engine, right? Like that. It ain't. It's just that moving. Okay, this thing's shot. So I'm going to take it off. I've already taken this apart before I thought that I might make a video about it. So I'll show you guys how to tell. Okay, first let's look at the system, what it is, all right? Come on in here close again. Okay, now I thought this was to cushion the engine as it takes off. Brian tells me it's for the starter so you don't break the starter drive gear. It doesn't matter to me either way. This is the way the factory made it. They know more than me. Okay, now you can see the way this just spins. The clutch here ultimately connects to the back wheel, though it's in neutral. Okay, so this don't even connect to the engine. What connects it is this thing here. Some of you guys know this. All right. Will I get this in? Okay. Now you can see that when I turn it, it pushes this out. Okay. So it gives it some cushion when you hit the gas. Okay. And so what you have is you have these things have springs in them. This is actually a spring plate. These things are actually, what do they call them things? They're like this. They're spring plates. Can you see my hands? They're like this, and they push together like that. All right? And so when you put it on and bolt it down, it pushes all that shit together, and it allows the engine, it allows a little bit of movement up here. Okay, and this is how you tell. Back on me. This one's the one I'm taking off. It's shot. Get up close so you can hear it rattling. Hear the way it rattles? Banging on something. Shake it. Okay, this one's brand new. It don't rattle. This is the one I'm going to be putting on. Alright, as far as taking this all apart, if you've never done it, y'all can look at a manual. Now I'm going to show you something else. Early on, I had problems with this. This nut that holds it all together here, okay, that's going to squeeze it all down, push the whole thing together. Okay, this thing, the factory made it too long, and what it does is it hits the bottom here and it bottoms out. This part here is able to bottom out, and it would look like it's tight, but it's not tight completely. All right, and so I had troubles for about 3 years. I had shit going wrong in here, stuff coming apart. And what Harley's fixed, the fix they came out for it, was they gave you a 70 thousandths washer to put on this thing to pull it out a little bit. But most people don't know. You go into a dealership, ask for that part. I'm sure they've never heard of it, because this is obviously in the past. My stuff's all in the past. So whenever I get another bike or whatever, I always put one of these on just for GP. It ain't going to hurt nothing. I imagine you can grind a little off this at the end of this if you want. You need it to hold out just a little bit further than it was. So I got this washer at a nut and bolt shop. I went in there and bought that and put it on. Okay, the other thing is, whenever you take these apart and then put them back together, this thing goes on with red Loctite. So it's going to be full of Loctite, old Loctite in there. You got to get a pick, a screwdriver, and get it all cleaned out. I use some brake cleaner and get it cleaned out and spin it on there and spin it out. I've spun it a few times to where I got it by hand to where it goes down tight, so that the old dried up Loctite don't interfere with it when I put it back on. Then it's able to go down all the way tight. It needs to be able to go down. So that's what you need to know about it, okay? You're not supposed to do this with an impact wrench, but most everybody does, and I'm probably going to. This nut and the one on the clutch, I don't know that you're really supposed to use an impact on them, but what you find is the majority of the shops put it together with an impact. I think the torque on the front is 150 pounds now. You know, in the old books it was 90 pounds. And then I would keep seeing it go up. They've gone up to 150. The back on my last bike was 60 anyway. I don't know what it is on this. This one has a different clutch. But the stators behind here, if you go into Harley Davidson and your stator's shot, you're looking at $700 is going to be the first price that they shoot you across the counter, okay? I'm able to go into an aftermarket shop. There's some pretty good aftermarket stators. Cycle Electric, as everybody knows, is the best. They cost some more, and you can see looking at them, they're the best. I've had good luck with CCI too. The Chinese ones, I had one only lasted a month. That really pissed me off, so stay out of that. So I can go into the shop, buy a stator, come out into the parking lot and put it in with the tools that are on the bike if need be, because I've done it. So this can be taken off and put back on with a simple breaker bar. If you don't torque it, it's not critical on this one. This is the bar I carry. See it? My breaker bar. Joe, what do you think of that, huh?
Pretty cool.
And I'll just put it on there and talk. Of course, this is going to spin the engine when you do it. Okay? So the way you stop that is you can use wood. I always use a rag. You jam the rag in between the chain.
You could almost use a wood door stop, huh?
You can use a piece of wood, anything that's soft, because otherwise you'll break shit. There used to be all kind of parts back when we had all the stuff at the swap meets that were broken from guys trying to jam these things up in different ways. They'd put something between the fingers if you take the clutch apart and bust the fucking fingers off. You see them all the time. You just drag the clutch in, you see the way it stopped, and that'll ultimately stop it. You just keep jamming shit in it, okay? So that's what I know about compensators. And I'm going to put some red Loctite on this, and I'm going to put it together actually with that impact. Because we have one, because we're at Brian's shop here. But I don't put them on very tight. Here's the thing is, the torque does not seem to be extremely important, but sometimes they'll come loose. But I've only ever had one come loose once in my goddamn life, and I carry the parts to put them on. So I don't put them down too damn tight, because I may have to take this off with a breaker bar somewhere. And now we're going to put this new one on. Got my washer on there. A little bit of this Loctite. That'll be plenty. I carry this with me. And my breaker bar. I got everything to take the primary apart, because over the years I've had enough problems in the primary. Okay, now I ain't gonna hit it too much. I'm happy with that. And impacts. Because I ain't ever had one I only had one come loose, so what the hell, you know. Anyways, you guys, now it's just about putting it back together. Let's see if I can turn it now. Come on up close, let's see if it works. Ugh, see, I can't turn it anymore. It turns the whole thing. You can see that sprocket ain't moving. The new one stopped the problem. So from there, I'm just going to put the cover back on, fill it back up, and that's what I know about compensators. If you one year, I've only ever had one bottom end problem in my life, and that engine had 210,000 on it at the time, and bottom end was not worn out. And it was still running. It had something go funny over here. I probably could have put it back together and run it. But I was at a friend's shop, and he insisted I take it apart, and he had another crank we put in. But anyway, I had let one summer I had let the compensator go so bad that it idled. You could hear it. It just would be knock, knock, knock. You could hear it. I was just fucking laughing about it, but he thinks that's what hurt my bottom end. So now I kind of pay attention to these things, because otherwise I've never had a bottom end problem. I mean, and you go in there and check them, and they're not worn out. I've had them with 300,000 on them, and you check them, and I don't know how fucking long they last, unless something weird happens like that. So that's what I know about these things. I'm going to put it back together, and that's it. Okay, Harley tells, well, you're probably supposed to put blue Loctite on these nuts, on these bolts that hold the cover on, but I never do.
Right.
And the reason is because they never come loose. All something's got to do is be tight enough. Over-tightening things is, if you have something that's over-tightened, it tells you that your mechanic doesn't know what he's doing, that you have a lousy mechanic. Because most of us screw something up early on by over-tightening shit, and then we learn, and we don't do that no more. Because we screw ourselves. You screw yourselves bad when you strip something or bust something or cross-thread something, you fuck yourself. So I don't like to make things any tighter or harder, but I don't use Loctite on these anymore because they never come loose. On mine, they've never come loose, and the Loctite gets built up inside of the cover, or inside of the inner primary cover case, whatever the fuck, chain case. And my last bike, they were just full of crap, so I don't use it anymore. But I want to talk about the drain plug. So I'm going to put the drain plug, can you get up here? This is a drain plug for the primary, okay? With its little magnet. And you see the tape I have on the top?
There you go.
Okay, you see I use plumber's tape on this. I like plumber's tape better than the glue, personally, and the reason is because it's easy to take off. Okay. Now, I'm going to wrap a little plumber's tape on this, clean it up, wrap a little of this stuff on it, and then put it in not too tight. And the reason is because it's tapered like a pipe fitting, and my last bike, eventually it cracked the primary. It'd get looser and looser and cracked it. I had to get a guy to weld it, and it never did really seal up after. I mean, the bike had over 500,000 miles on it, literally. So nowadays, I try to be gentle with it. If you can, a lot of guys use they make tape, and they also make like a goop that you put on there. They use it, you get it at Home Depot. Most shops have it from Home Depot. You rub that on there, it's easier to use, but the thing is it's harder to clean off. So these are just quirks that I do. Everybody has their little quirks, right? So I'll use this stuff on it because it's easier to get off next time I do it. I'll just put some of this on it. And then I won't put it in that tight. Oops, that's not that important. I hate this shit, it's hard to work with. Well, it's just to take up the space in between them. It's supposed to be to stop leaks.
You don't got to get it tighter than that?
No. This bike only has 118,000 miles on it, I think. And so this stuff's still pretty tight, and I'll put it in there. Not too tight, because I don't want to bust shit. That'll hold it. It won't come out. We're going to use genuine primary fluid here, as you can see.
Straight from the Harley.
Now this is from Walmart, because it's really, because it's about the cheapest. These things are like $22 for 5 quarts. It's about the cheapest synthetic oil you can get, and I like synthetics because you can leave them in longer. And I'm just going to put some of this 2050 car oil in here. I've been using it for years. I don't think oil's important. Use whatever you like. Different guys like different oils.
What about ATF?
Some guys use ATF, and the primary is just not that important because all it does really is oil the chain, and there's a couple of bearings in there. You can put pretty much anything in this fucker. The rest of it I'm a little more picky about, but here, I'm going to put this in. Okay, the factory, I believe the book says to fill this thing up all the way, but that has a tendency to cause leaks in the gaskets, to blow leaks. So nobody ever fills it up until it runs out. Because all there is in here, all you're doing is oiling the chain, and there's a few bearings in there. It's not that important even what you put in here, so long as it's oil. So most of us, I use for a long time, just under a quart. I leave about that much in the bottom of a quart. I also know about where it's supposed to be by looking in the inspection plate. So this is what I know, and you guys don't have to do it this way. Obviously, mechanics all do things a little different, but that's the new Compensator, and I'm sure the bike will be happy now. And I hope it all works for you guys. As usual, I've included a link to a donate button in the drop box below for all of you guys who would like to help me keep this channel going. But if you're the guy who's doing this kind of work to your own bike, you may just be a poor man like me. So I hope this video helped you. Until next time, see you then.